Originally released in 1991 and now remade in an arranged for modern day audiences, Cotton Reboot is finally here. Cotton and her fairy sidekick Silk team up to save the world, more importantly to get that special candy fix. That's right, at its heart Cotton is a social review of what can happen when you get hooked on addictive substances. Only kidding. It's about murdering creatures, destroying anthropomorphic trees, rocks and the like in order to get a high score, all in one colourful and fun package. For those of you not aware of this game, it is a horizontal scrolling shooter with the majority of the enemies coming at you from the right hand side of the screen or from above or below. Visually the game takes on a witchy theme in the vein of anime styles found in late 80s and early 90s. Cotton sports a magician-like cloak and broom found in European fiction and mythology and is accompanied by her fairy companion Silk, who appears as an overly sexualized anime waifu with wings. In terms of the game graphics, the backgrounds are really well designed, from the water reflections, mist buildings to other environmental touches. The developers have created a very pretty world in this shoot-'em-up. Each stage has been lovingly designed with a European Gothic look. Some great little touches have been thrown in, like the dog waiting by its owner's grave in the graveyard stage and boss section. Later stages have environmental obstacles such as stalagmites and stalactites, etc., which you must navigate or be destroyed. Sprites have a great pixel art design, and both the sprites and the environments blend well with the brighter, more animated 3D looking bullets and shots. All shots, gems and bullets are bright and colourful, which contrast over the darker toned environments. Enemies have some really cool designs, from cute flying creatures such as griffins to dwarves, rock monsters, zombies, ghosts and all manner of mythical creatures, both alive and undead. A lot of people online will reference Death Smiles when speaking about Cotton, however to me it feels like a completely different game. I guess Death Smiles is the bar where standards are concerned when it comes to witchy cum gothic shmups, but that is no bad thing. Sound-wise, the game cannot compete with the likes of Death Smiles, at least when it comes to the music. The music found in Cotton is that of the music you do find in shoot-'em-ups. It works really well with the game with some really interesting melodies, but a lot of the tracks are very happy-go-lucky sounding. A couple of the more rocky standout tracks really give you goosebumps in the later levels, where the challenge is steep and adding to the overall immersion of the game. The sound effects are great and will rival any decent shmup in terms of its bangs, kabooms and tongue-rolling bullet sounds I just can't emphasise or put down into words. Suffice to say that Cotton Reboot does really well in this department, and as Graham previously mentioned in our podcast, nobody wants weak sound effects in their game. There are a few interesting mechanics with this game. The player, or rather Cotton, shoots across the screen in one direction, to the right, but also drops ground shots regularly with the main fire button. The screen tends to scroll right or down for the majority of the stages, but there are times when it scrolls up or left. As this ties into the environment that you were in or the boss you were facing, it adds an extra layer of immersion. Killing enemies and picking up gen items they drop increases your experience and shot power, indicated by the shot bar placed at the bottom and centre of the screen. Different colour gems work as power-ups, granting a slightly different magical power when collected. Shooting these gems when they appear will cause their colour to change, allowing the player to manually change the colour to which attack they would like to collect. But bear in mind you'll be shooting at enemies and avoiding enemy fire whilst doing so, making it a bit of a balancing act. Just as your main shot, you also level up these individual attacks with each gem collected. The level is indicated for each individual attack at the bottom right of the main screen. Here is a breakdown of the coloured gems and what attack they produce. Red equals Fire Dragon Blast, a quick left to right fired from Cotton's finger. Blue is Lightning Beam Magic, a longer sustained attack left to right. Purple is a Powder Bomb drop attack just in front and below Cotton. And she also has a Thunder attack that covers the entire screen and an Avalanche attack that drops boulders and rocks onto the enemy. Firing at the gems not only changes their colour but splits your attack shot into a couple of wider shots from wherever the gem is currently placed. This is very cool indeed and can be very useful when taking on multiple enemies and helpful when facing certain bosses. You also collect fairies as you go through the game, which add to your main attack. Developers not only provided hours of fun with the reboot, but also provided a port of the original X6800 game, which the reboot appears to be modelled on, which is a nice touch. In Cotton Reboot itself, you can unlock Silk as a playable character, adding even more playability to the game. You could choose to play as Silk in the main menu after playing through the entire game as Cotton and beating the end boss on stage 7. Playing as Silk, Cotton accompanies you this time as you blast your way through enemies. Silk moves faster and has a much wider spread shot. Ultimately, it allows you to play a bit differently. Although Silk's shot differs from Cotton, they both share the same magical bomb attacks previously mentioned. At the end of each level, you are greeted with tea time! And this is a fun, silly bonus collection at the end of each stage. This is mostly used for boost points, but we all know that we are feeding Cotton's candy addiction, and man does she need to be off her head to take on the horde of monsters and undead featured in this game. This is followed by a brief update in the story, which is dubbed in Japanese with Japanese subtitles, which is skippable. The passing of the stages is done well, especially in keeping with the environment that you're in. For example, stage 4 scrolls much faster and has a lot more environmental obstacles like caves and passageways to navigate, meaning you have to change your tactics, and time your bursts of blasting through enemies to make it to certain level obstacles or to hold back in order not to get blown away by a full section of the enemies on the left hand side of the screen. It's things like this that add an extra layer of challenge to the game. The bosses are fairly fun to fight, except for the dragon boss in the lava level.
What a bastard!
Very frustrating, but doable after a few tries. Bosses remain fairly basic and are not anything to write home about in terms of visuals, which is strange given how great all the other enemies in this game look. There's a Cyclops frog boss that looks rather cool and a couple of decent dragons. Otherwise, boss visuals feel a tad weak. Their attacks and bullet patterns are decent enough though, so watch your back. There are 7 stages in all. 6 stages have a mid and end boss, with the 7th and final stage being specifically a boss fight against Wool. Yes, that's right, you heard me correctly. Cotton versus Wool. Cotton, Wool. Fabric jokes, we don't need them. Wool is a devil fairy, like the kind your mum warned you about. She wears high-heeled boots, a corset with red dragon wings and anime-style hair. It kind of feels like she's about to turn Super Saiyan. During stage 7, you fight Wool whilst avoiding falling debris. Wool can use a shield to block attacks and summon magic dragon blasts, rather like Cotton's fire dragon attack. You must navigate the falling debris and Wool's attacks, whilst the odd onslaught of monsters you come against attack you. It is a rather difficult level, but it is doable. At first it feels rather unforgiving after that sodding lava dragon boss. But it shows the game requires you to fight with skill and tactics, as it provides quite the challenge, and is not just dismissible as a shoot 'em up. Do you like shoot 'em up / shmups? Well, you are in luck. Shoot You Sir is a fanzine for shoot 'em up players. Created by Graham Pike of New Earth fame and Sly Asar of Sonora Gaming, Shoot You Sir provides you with reviews, news, updates and other important information on shmups. Download it for free, there is no subscription, just head over to slylsr.com/shoot-u-sir, click to download for free. Shoot You Sir is also on Podbean. If you own a Switch, this is a must-play as the gameplay is tight, it has rather cool mechanics, it's also full of all sorts of mythological creatures, always a plus. This game at the time of writing is currently not available in English and could be obtained by either a Japanese Switch account via the Japanese Switch store or by the physical limited run games release. If you want a physical copy of this game, you will need to buy it soon before the price becomes ridiculous. Like, share and subscribe. I've been Sly Asar, this is Sonora Gaming, have a good one.